Welcome back to another episode of the Otter Players Podcast, where this week we'll talk about PlayStation or Sony's rather earnings call and Japanese translation from Genki. We'll also talk about PlayStation selling over 80 million consoles prior to GTA 6's launch, JRPG prejudice still being a thing, and the China Hero project coming out to massive growth and success. But before we get into all that, we'll go ahead and see what everybody's been playing, as there has been a plethora of amazing games coming out. The fall onslaught has officially begun, and plenty of us are out here playing a lot of great games. So we'll go ahead and start with Weeb. How are you, man? And what have you been playing, Weeb?
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, there's only one answer to that. That's Death Stranding. Though I am happy to report that I finished the main story. So I did catch up with you guys, and now I'm just trying to get the plat, which is maybe even tonight. We'll see. Yeah, I mean, I mean, it's kind of hard to talk about without going to the spoilers. So I won't. But the crazy shit Kojima has done
Yeah.
in the end, absolutely, I love it. Absolutely amazing. Like this is Kojima. Like he doesn't give a fuck about you know about your gamer feelings. Like I love it. Constantly reminds you you're playing a fucking game now. Yeah, I mean, yeah, amazing. I mean, that's all I can say about it. I mean, yeah, I mean, you got to see it to believe it, I guess. But yeah, I mean, in the end, like he pulled it off. Like I didn't think that Death Stranding necessarily needed a sequel, but after playing Death Stranding 2, I'm convinced that it needed a sequel. I mean, it's like the Last of Us effect, right? Where nobody really needed a sequel to it until we got a sequel, and then we're like, oh wow, yeah, we definitely need this. So yeah, what can I say? Amazing game. Pick it up. Definitely go-to contender. And yeah, so now just wrapping up for the plat and seeing what else I missed, because as you said, there's a plethora of games that came out that's still in my backlog. That's coming out. So yeah, it's crazy. I probably will try to do a shorter game, taking a page from Morgan's book, because yeah, you definitely need a palate cleanser after spending hundreds of hours delivering packages.
Agreed.
Um, so yeah, I'll do that. Maybe I'll pick up that Cobra game, or I still have, I think, the standalone expansion of RoboCop. I absolutely love the original game, so I'm looking forward to seeing how the expansion is doing. So yeah, that's what's up.
Absolutely. Morgan, how are you, ma'am? And what have you been playing?
Come back to me
Okay,
in a couple minutes.
that's fine. Omar, how are you, man? And what have you been playing?
Up everyone. How I am? Yeah, no, another week, another terrible sickness, but hopefully it will be over soon. However, gaming, yeah, I went back to an oldie but a goodie, crosscode. So I have a habit, and this is my problem, that I'm playing an amazing game and I drop it for something big. But not this time, despite what we call it, Mafia coming out. I'm still sticking with Crosscode. I need to finish that yet. For the people that don't know what Crosscode is, it's an MMORPG but offline. Basically, the whole genre of it, think dot hack GU among others. Um, I'm enjoying where I am. Uh, it's fun being back into the world, the characters, the gameplay, the aspect, the gameplay loop. It's phenomenal. I recommend it. And it have a DLC that's even bigger than the main game, or at a main game, and you can buy it for $10. So the DLC at least. So look it up. That's about it. I tried what you call it, Ninja Gaiden Ragebound. Sadly, my controller is not good for it. I am having controller drift, I think. So I need a new one before being able to play Ragebound.
Oh man, say it,
But
say it ain't
with that
so.
being
You're
so,
having
what?
you're having stick drift.
Basically, yeah, my controller keep going to the left or right while I am not even pressing that. And it's not happening all the time, it happens sometimes. But it costed me my run in Ninja Gaiden. And a game like Ninja Gaiden where you're running, you're hitting you can't afford to have a controller that don't work 100%. So I took a break from that, and I'm gonna go back to it absolutely just when I buy a new controller, specifically meant for PC.
Oh, you
But
finally learned
yeah,
it, huh?
it's not. The only reason I'm doing it is because I know how my gameplay is when I'm playing on an Xbox controller. This is why I didn't enjoy, not per se enjoy, I didn't do well with, what's that game name? Hi-Fi Rush. Because of the Xbox controller, the Xbox button prompt. Like with games like this, I suck so bad because I don't have the button prompt memorized. So I'm gonna absolutely hit the wrong button and cut myself some valuable time or even die.
I think
This is
I think
why
you'll I think you'll manage. I think you'll be surprised how quickly you can get used to things.
we will see.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no. Play crosscode if you can.
All right, cool. Um, yeah. As for me, I've also been playing Mafia, the old country. Um, it's good. It's good so far. Looks great. Plays great on the PS5 Pro. Um, I'm playing on the prioritizing the graphics mode. Seems to be running at like a smooth 60, so I'm not really worried about switching to the higher FPS mode. It's been playing really well on the Pro so far. I'm enjoying the story. Graphically, like I said, the game is just really beautiful. Story so far is, I mean, it's very Italian. I mean, it's a mafia story. Like I kind of know what to expect at this point. I've seen enough of them. Um, but yeah, I mean, that's pretty much the main thing I've been playing. And then, like I said, I'm finishing up a couple other games. It's really just like cleanup time um, for a lot of games that I kind of had in rotation. So if I'm not playing that, I'm usually jumping on back on Suikoden 2, double platinum grind, um, and finishing up like Bravely Default HD remaster, which I'm literally been at the end on that forever. But I'm doing some farming and stuff to finish getting to like to 99 and maxing out some job classes and a bunch of other stuff because if I'm not maxed out when I go to the final battle, I'm not doing it right.
Yes, baby.
You, Omar, I think you're
Yeah, sorry about that. I
okay.
muted.
But yeah, no, I don't know, man. I'm like all over the place. Like then also the demo came out for Super Robot Wars Y, which was crazy, because anyone who knows or has listened to the show long enough knows I'm like a major Super Robot fan, or follow me on Twitter. I have the platinum for almost all of them. But in order to get them previously, you had to have a Singapore account or import them from either PlayAsia or order them from Amazon after other people imported them. So they are in English, but for whatever reason, you would just have to import them. They would never sell them in the United States. And then when Super Robot Wars came out, 30 came out about uh, a year or two ago now. Um, they sold uh, the U.S. version in the United States, but only on PC. So you could only get it on Steam in the US. And then now, when the demo came out, the US PSN store all of a sudden had it. So this is the first time ever you can purchase Super Robot Wars officially in the United States without having to go through a bunch of stuff. So I'm
I
excited for
was
that.
surprised. I literally shared it with you when I saw it. I'm like, this is gonna be your field day today.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited to have it finally be available out here because a lot of people do ask me about it when I show it off sometimes, and like honestly, I don't expect people to have go for find a Singapore account or import a game. Like that's just too much work. So I'm glad Bandai Namco finally listened and started porting the game over here and got the whole situation taken care of as far as all the licensing and other issues that we're facing bringing it to the U.S. So yeah, I'm really excited about that. We just got a ton of stuff coming up. Like I said, I know the release calendar is about to be crazy. It started with Mafia, but it's about to. Uh, I mean, it's literally about to go crazy. Um, I know the Metal Gear Solid Delta is coming up. Sword of the Sea, Lost Soul Aside, Borderlands 4, Chronos: The New Dawn, Battlefield 6, The Outer Worlds 2, Karen.
Dude,
Um,
stop.
yeah,
The floodgate is opening, dude.
yeah, it is literally just insane right now. Like honestly, this list just goes on
Good luck
and
to your
on.
free time and your money.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's really the thing, right? Like people making choices. I saw somebody else. They went and pre-ordered a couple games as well. Then, like you said, Shinobi Art of Vengeance later this month as well. Hell is Us in
Demo was
September
phenomenal.
for Shinobi. Yeah, you
Yeah,
did. You did say you
phenomenal.
liked that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Then you got Dying Light Beast. Um, like I said, it's just Silent Hill F. Like it. Then Final Fantasy Tactics towards the end of that month. Then obviously at the start of October, Ghost of Yote. Um, and it just Digimon Story, Time Stranger, which is one I seen somebody pre-order recently. Like it just honestly, it just keeps coming. So if you're looking forward to stuff, make sure your calendar is up to date. And then obviously we're finishing out the year with Octopath Traveler O, which looks really amazing. So yeah, a lot of stuff to be excited about as far as releases and everything that's coming out. Hey, what's up, Salazar? See Thrifty in the chat as well. Yes, Omar did agree.
Agree to
So,
what?
no, he said, did you just agree on something? Thrifty.
We agree more than often. Especially on Borderlands being the GOAT.
Yeah, Borderlands is about to definitely plan to put several hundred hours in that at some point. But yeah, Morgan, I don't know if you are ready to tell the people what you've been playing yet, but
Yeah. So I've been playing Mafia: The Old Country. Absolutely love it. Um, gross with the story, but I mean, I'm always a fan of Hangar 13 and the Mafia stories. Like, I mean, I like, regardless of the sentiment of gamers, I enjoyed Mafia 3. I thought it was good. Um, but yeah, I'm really enjoying Mafia: The Old Country. The stories got me hooked. I really like the main character. Interested to see where the story goes, even though I pretty much kind of know where it's going, where all because all the mafia games pretty much go in one direction, but the way they tell it is always very well done. The world is really beautiful, seeing like Italy in the early 20th century, 1900s. It looks really well done. But it still has those kind of Unreal Engine 5 kind of gripes where they do have some weird uh frame dips when it like transitions from like cutscene to gameplay, or when you're driving through the city, like the frames just kind of like have a heart attack a little bit. But that seems like such a like I said, like a Unreal issue, right? An Unreal 5 issue. So I don't know. Yeah, I expect that they'll be putting out patches to fix it, but it's not anything that's like hampering my gameplay or hindering me from having a good time. Like it's not too much of a nuisance where I'm like completely bothered. Um, but otherwise, other than that, it's been working really well. Like I said, the game is beautiful. Story is engrossing. I really like the main character, and I like that they went back to a more linear style Mafia. Like Mafia 3 was, open world esque. A lot more open world than the previous Mafias. This one's more in line with like the Mafia 1 remake. So, and I think I've been missing a linear style AAA game. Because most of the AAA games that I've been playing lately have been, open world, and there's nothing wrong with open world per se, but once you play like so many open worlds, you just really want a strict kind of linear story from A to B that's just, that you can get engrossed in and you can just, relax and play that. And this has been exactly what I needed. You know, it's like I said, they said it's like a 10 to 12 hour experience. It's a nice, short, and sweet linear game that I think is so far it's a very gripping tale so far. So I'm enjoying my time with Mafia. But yeah, I plan on getting the plat for it. It seems like a pretty straightforward plat. So yeah, I think I'm gonna go for it. Um, but yeah, it's met my expectations, so I'm happy with Mafia so far.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, it's been really good, and I agree. It's a nice change of pace. I mean, it has like an open world aspect when you get to like later in chapter 3, but for the most
Yeah,
part, like the game itself and
it
the progression is linear.
definitely gives me like Uncharted 4 vibes. Like I feel like they were really inspired, especially with that last, Uncharted 4 boss fight where you're doing like the knife fight with the what's his face? I can't remember the name of the enemy. But it's like that's like one of the main fighting styles that they have in the game is where you kind of duel with switchblades. And you'll do that often with like kind of like the boss of that level or whatever, like the final end boss. It's cool. Like the mechanic is, it's samey. Like it's the same thing like over and over, but it's not, but not in a way where at least for me, I don't find it boring. Like I enjoy it. It's very cinematic, very like it's like a very kind of set piece style type of fight. Um, so I enjoy that, but I can definitely tell they got a little inspiration from
Oh,
Uncharted with their,
Salazar
at
said
least
you
with
were fighting Rafe. That's what you were talking about.
yeah, Rafe. Thank you,
Yeah.
thank you. Yeah, the Rafe fight at the very end where you fight him in like the burning pirate ship at the end. Um, yeah, I can tell they were inspired by that, and just by the way their kind of stealth mechanics and everything works, like it literally reminds me of Uncharted 4. Because you could sneak in the camp, you can go behind and strangle people or knife them, or you can just go in guns blazing. So it feels like they kind of took some notes, and that's never a bad thing. I love Uncharted, so the fact that it gives me that vibe uh, makes me happy. So yeah.
Cool. Absolutely. All right, cool. We'll jump right into our first topic here. Um, we'll just go straight to the elephant in the room, the one that's got everybody panicking, freaking out, or at least some people, not us. But uh, PlayStation announced that they have officially sold over 80 million units for the PS5. Things are looking really great, and also in coinciding with that announcement, they announced the absorption of Bungie being basically integrated into a PlayStation Studio, being brought internally to that family. So we'll see what good that does them, what they can get kind of manageable from that train wreck that is going on with Marathon and whatnot. But the main story and the other thing that came out for PlayStation was the earnings call that was originally in Japanese. I know Genki said that he translated it. Some people were saying it was translated live in English. Irrelevant. But I mean, out of what everything that was said, the one thing everybody seemed to want to harp on or be stuck on is the portion where he states that PlayStation will be switching from tracking, or their gaming business will be switching from hardware to MAUs basically as their primary metric. Um, so people or a to MAUs in a platform centric or creation centric platform. Basically, just meaning they're focusing on the games and expanding those games and their IPs beyond the hardware, which again, PlayStation has stated before. They've stated this not too long ago. They want to continue to expand, which they are. We all know they've had the Last of Us show. We know that they have the God of War show is in the works. They've had the Uncharted movie. They've been working with Bandai Namco and Kadokawa,
Twisted
extending.
Metal.
Yeah. Oh, Twisted Metal. Yeah, which was awesome.
Yeah, we need to watch that, by the way. Season 2's out.
Yeah, I'll be forgetting. But yeah, they've had a ton of initiatives outside of their games, expanding their IPs, and then also obviously their experimental stuff with their experimental games, which they talked about with games like the Horizon Lego, trying to expand to see what kind of family reach some of these games have, alongside Everybody's Golf and Patapon, some IPs that weren't really kicking, and they're just trying to see what they can do outside of PlayStation, since they're not their main tentpole IPs. So again, this is just about growth and expansion and seeing, what kind of reach they have in general. But to really set the tone, it's been pointed out by multiple people, and it's reported in multiple sources. Game Informer reported it, as well as Gaming Bolt, and I'm sure you could find more. That in 2017, PlayStation announced they were switching to monthly active users will become more important to than units sold. Sony says, like, literal quote from them. That is in 2017. Multiple outlets reported it. That is in the same time frame, mind you, of where PlayStation 5 is in its current life cycle. So again, this isn't new, and everybody keeps trying to frame everything that PlayStation says as new. I don't honestly, it just feels more of a way that people are consuming issues and trying to confirm their confirmation bias that seems to be driving all this noise and extra nonsense that, again, Sony is not even saying, but people are surmising and inferring things that are not being said, versus what is actually happening. Because what has actually happened is PlayStation has simply continued to deliver games the exact way that they've said they would. So again, nothing has really changed. People are just freaking out at every little thing. So yeah, we're going to talk about it, see what you guys think about it. Morgan, if you are, I want to go to you for give you the opportunity first, since you might be tied up. So, how are you feeling about this?
Yeah, I mean, it's once again uh, another, you know, everybody thinks the sky is falling kind of chicken little situation uh, that people tend to do when it comes to PlayStation as of late. I'm noticing it more and more. I swear, it's like ever since, what was it, earlier this year, when PlayStation, the whole Helldiver situation has everybody like freaking out, right? They think it's over. PlayStation's officially going toe for toe with Xbox, right? They're doing the exact same thing, and it's just I'm trying to figure out exactly where people are getting this idea from, especially when you look at the business. Like, you actually just like don't panic and just look at how the business is structured for both PlayStation and Xbox. And it's like they're like, "Oh, this is their four games moment," and I'm just like, what are the four games that you're talking about?" And they're like, "Well, MOB and Helldivers and the Horizon Lego game," and I'm like, okay, but I mean, the four game situation with Xbox was like all at once, and it was a corporate push that they just pulled the band-aid on and were just like, all right, this is what we're doing, this is how we're doing it, and then the floodgates completely open. PlayStation has not been doing that at all. Like this is like the first game that we know of that has been their, because the news came out that it was their idea to put Helldivers on Xbox. So this is
Mm.
like the first game we know of that's actually been like initiated by PlayStation to put, one of their first party games onto Xbox. And obviously like Marathon and all that stuff will come, but that was an agreement between them and Bungie to keep them multi-platform, right? So it's very interesting to see how they're looking at what Xbox does and think, okay, it's the exact same thing PlayStation's doing. It's not at all. PlayStation has, they pay attention to certain things PlayStation says, but then ignore other things that they say. Because they're like, oh, but look, they said they want MAUs. They say they want a more multi-platform approach. And I'm like, okay, but they also said that Xbox's strategy is something that they don't want to do. But you ignored that. It's like, no, that doesn't, that right there, it doesn't confirm what I believe. So I'm going to ignore that statement, but I'm going to look at all their other statements and be like, see, that means that they're doing exactly what Xbox is doing. And I'm just like, we saw that, with the financial, I know we're going to get to the financial reports later, but the net positive of like everything PlayStation's doing, they've got 80 million consoles sold, their sales are up, their subscriptions up, their net profits up. It's like everything's up. I don't think they had anything down. I could be wrong, but it looked like it was like all positive.
Yeah, I
But
remember
it
everything
just
being
looks
up.
like the direction that, regardless of the fumbles that PlayStation has made, with especially with their live service push, that they are having one of their, if not their best year for PlayStation. And that's without incorporating this strategy that everybody thinks they're going to do, right, with the multi-platform situation, that they're going to put things on Xbox that has been known to be PlayStation IPs only. And like you said, it's funny because most of the statements that people are using as proof that this is going to happen are statements that PlayStation has already made in the past. Like you said, like they made this statement in 2017 already, and they've said for years that they want to focus on MAUs. They've said the whole like the position thing that we were talking about last week, the job position of the person who was in charge of their multi-platform strategy, is the job that's already existed, right? It
Mm-hmm.
was just somebody new needed to get hired, so they put a job posting out for it. But again, because if it's the narrative of, oh, PlayStation's going to do what Xbox does, people just focus on that and they're not looking and actually doing research. They're just fear mongering. And the people that are following it, like that are falling for this whole, they're going to do the same thing, are the same people who were mocking the Xbox fan base for immediately getting flustered, or folding, or whatever you want to call it, right? Or you know immediately thinking that everything was going to fail with like Xbox and just kind of just going off of the deep end, right? Immediately now they're doing the exact same thing, and it's just like you're not paying attention, you're not looking at the numbers, you're not paying attention to what PlayStation's doing, and how what they're doing is not changing from how they've been. Like it's the same strategy that they've always done, right? And the thing about PlayStation is they're never ones to kind of just immediately jump and switch positions, like switch their strategy, because they know that PlayStation is Sony, essentially, right? We've talked about this multiple times, right? PlayStation exists, you know, as the giant entity within Sony, right? Without PlayStation, there is no Sony. So they have to be very careful about how they approach their business, and just doing a complete 180 to how they've always done it, especially with the mere fact that the strategy that they use is successful. So to think that they would just immediately switch it because oh, Xbox is doing it and they see Xbox's numbers. It's like, well, we're not also factoring in that Xbox is selling to a bigger fan base, right? They're selling to 80 plus million, as we just said. They sold 80 million cards. They're selling to 80 million players. PlayStation would be selling down. They would be selling to, God knows their numbers because they don't ever really tell us, but they'd be
Mm-hmm.
selling somewhere to like from 25 to 30 million players, right? I don't know. We don't know if they'll have the same success rate as Xbox does, because Xbox, again, Xbox is a very small subset of the gaming uh, sphere, and they're getting smaller by the year. So
Exactly.
PlayStation's going to play this very carefully, the way they handle putting games on Xbox. And like I said last week, Helldivers will definitely be that test. But even if Helldivers succeed, I think again it would be very, again, I don't work for Sony, but I think I would be very wary of putting games on Xbox, just specifically because Helldivers is a game that I think would work well over there, because it is
The shooter box.
a Halo like game. So that's a game that will do well over there, because that's the type of games they like, the shooters. But I
Mm-hmm.
don't know if an Uncharted or a Last of Us or a Horizon would do well on Xbox, right? I
Nah,
think
I don't
the
think so.
first game of, like, I think whatever, if they release a single player game, one of PlayStation single player games, I think it would go in a similar pattern how it did with PC, where the first game, what was it, Horizon Zero Dawn, I think was the first game that they put on PC. It sold pretty okay. Like it sold like what, like 500,000 copies or something like that, or a million. Like I know it didn't like get past a million, but like the more games they put on there, like the smaller the sales kept going down. And it's because the first game, it was just like, oh man, the PlayStation game's on here, and people got excited, and so they,
That
it was the
novelty.
thrill of a PlayStation game, exactly, the novelty of a PlayStation game being on a foreign platform. But then as soon as the novelty wore off, people stopped buying the games. So I think the first single player game, if they put it over there, it will probably do pretty well. But then if they continuously put those games over there, people wouldn't care. Like it would dwindle down to basically nothing. Like there would be no point in putting the games over there. So I don't know. If I was Sony, I would just be very careful about that, because the risk, and the risk that people are ignoring, the possible risks of brand, the brand recognition and the
Yeah,
power behind the
diluting it.
PlayStation brand, right? That exactly, the dilution of that brand, I think, is a bigger negative than the positive that you could get of actually selling games on Xbox. Not like, again, it's not about, oh, I want my games to stay over here because I don't like the other side. Like, no, I just think it's a very dangerous game, because as we see with Xbox, that number of hardware and the care that they so put in the hardware has dwindled down over the years. you know and I don't want that same thing happening over here to PlayStation, right? Again, I've
Exactly.
said multiple times, if PlayStation gives me an excuse to leave, I will probably take it. So they need to play what they're doing very carefully, because if I have a, better choice, being like a PC where I can play multiple different, publishers all at one time, then I'll take it. But the main point I'm trying to drive here is, I don't think this really says anything. I think people are kind of, you know, essentially, what's that phrase where they kind of shake the sticks to kind of see what how it reads, and everybody's interpreting it basically how they perceive PlayStation. So if you perceive PlayStation as positive, you're going to interpret it one way, but if you perceive them as going down a negative path, you're going to interpret it a negative way. Like, oh, this is like Nate's saying, it's confirmation bias. People are using the information to confirm whether they think PlayStation's going down the right path or the wrong path. But I mean,
Exactly.
personally, just based on how PlayStation moves and the way their business front is, I don't see anything as like a Xbox strategy happening.
No,
But
I
yeah,
agree. Yeah, it kind of makes me think and laugh, like basically like to what you said, because I was looking at another post online, and they were kind of, it was a bunch of PC dudes, stroking each other, as they typically do, and like to talk about how they don't buy consoles and whatever, and they're PC only and whatever, not really realizing how they're painting themselves as basically a non-factor, because someone who's not a customer complaining about a product doesn't make any sense. I've told people, I was like, me complaining about the price of the upcoming Lamborghini makes no sense, and Lamborghini doesn't give a shit what I think, because I'm not a Lamborghini
yeah,
customer.
yeah.
So Yeah, these
Exactly.
people stating that. But then, but the thing that really got me that I laughed at, um, was it this guy? You know how people love to speak for other people on Twitter. Well, PC people, who have PlayStations, they don't really buy a lot of games and this, that, and the third, and it's just kind of like a secondary console. It's just around, and and I was like, I'm sitting here and I'm like, so me looking at these 700 plus titles that I own on my PlayStation while having also played on PC since the 90s, it is just a figment of my imagination. These these four PS5 consoles that I've purchased this generation, or PS5 consoles I've purchased in this generation, are nothing. Like
They
they're just.
actually don't see you as a PC dude. They see you as a PlayStation dude.
I mean, I don't care how he sees me. He said people who have both don't invest and don't purchase games on the PlayStation. That was his statement. So I was like,
I
so
mean, what would be
according
the
to him, I
purpose
don't
of buying a
exist.
PlayStation?
It, my point exactly.
If you're not buying anything on it, what would be the purpose of that person owning the PlayStation? I don't. This point
Exactly.
doesn't really make sense.
It doesn't.
They just
And
bought it for like a decoration piece, or
yeah,
like.
well, he's saying like they just buy it. They buy one or two games on it, the exclusives, and then he's saying they don't touch it.
I
And
mean,
I'm
some
like,
people do that, but
and I was like,
I
yeah,
think
others.
the
But I mean, but
produ-
still, that's the big point, though. The exclusives are the driver that gets this PC person who would otherwise not buy a PlayStation to
exactly.
I
get
You
think they're
a.
still bought one.
projecting it. I think they're projecting their own actions.
Well, no, I mean he definitely
Like
is. He's trying to equate his actions to everyone else, and I'm like, I'm not you.
precisely.
Yeah,
Like he don't speak for me. Like
yeah.
that
It's
is
like some
not the
people do
case.
that, some others don't. But at the end of the day, the exclusives were the driver to get that
That got
person
you there.
to buy a console that they otherwise would have ignored, because if those games came on PC, they most likely would not have purchased the PS5 in the first place. So it's
Exactly.
like the but then yeah, but then it's those same people who will be like, well, PlayStation's numbers, like as far as like the PS6, won't be affected if they do day and date on PC. But it's like, but you're also making the argument that the only reason these PC players are buying the damn PS5 is the exclusive. So how does that
Right?
make sense? Like
Exactly.
you're contradicting yourself. It's like
Also,
if
we already have what do you call it? Example A all the way to Z. Xbox. The
yeah,
number tank after going
yeah.
day and day. It's like
I mean,
what are we doing
you
over
look
here?
at the vast majority of the Xbox fan base, or even like the Xbox streamers, and people like that. Most of them have moved to PC. Like they're not even they don't even
Oh yeah.
they play they're still an Xbox channel, but they play all of their Xbox games on PC now. Like, they don't even bother playing it on the Series X or S. And if they do, it's just to like test it. Like, oh yeah, it ran. I'm playing it on PC, but I tried it out on my Series X, and it ran really
Exactly.
well. So if you're playing it on the X, it's good. That's really the only time they'll touch it. They don't even like these content creators don't even bother buying Xboxes or playing on their Xbox anymore. It's like they're all on PC. And now with Xbox, kind of, if the rumors are true and they're making this stream or Steam machine esque box, it's essentially like a stepping stone to kind of get Xbox players to get used to PC. And I feel like, because then that's why I feel like this will be their last mainstream s console. At least I think they'll partner like they did with ROG to make this ROG Ally Xbox. Maybe they'll partner with third parties to make Xbox consoles. But I feel like this next one will probably be their last one, because they're just kind of, it seems like this is like a stepping stone to get Xbox gamers used to a PC centric device, so that then they can just, okay, since you guys you're buying your games on Steam, you've played on a PC, and this this OS, this Windows OS, is available on PC now, so you know how to use it since you've played it on this hybrid box. So just now, you can just go over to PC. It's the same exact experience. You can take this OS and you can play it on any PC that you want. And I think that's kind of what Xbox is trying to do. They're trying to slowly push people out of this so they can get out of the hardware space and just focus solely on, the Windows platform and software. This kind of looks like what's headed, and I just don't want that for PlayStation. I feel like I just feel like consoles need to exist. There's people who just don't necessarily want to play on PC all the time, and I'm one of those people, and I just don't want to see this, end of an era type situation that people keep encouraging. Like, oh, it's
Oh, they
great. This
definitely
is
keep
this is
encouraging it.
fantastic. We should
Yeah,
be we should be waving the flag and being so excited about this, and I'm like, no. Like, and then it's not about, being a fangirl or anything. It's just about it's about the health of not only the brand but the industry. Like, watching the Titans go down is not a good thing. Like,
exactly.
because all this is gonna do is leave room open for these other predators to come in, i.e., an Apple or an Amazon or any of the rest of them, to try to kind of fill that void that'll be left by whoever
And
leaves.
I
And
definitely
I
don't want
don't
that.
want that. I don't think anybody wants one of these big conglomerates who definitely don't give a fuck about gaming or really know anything about gaming to try to come in and muscle their way in because they have, all of these billions of dollars. And gaming is such a such a lucrative business now. I don't want those entities trying to push their way into this, because then we're definitely gonna get nothing but slop, you know, at all. Like that's literally what we'll get. So I mean, this is just me just wanting uh to keep the Titans around. Like, I don't want Xbox to leave. Like, that's not what I want. So it's why I'm not a fan of this strategy that they're doing. This everything is an Xbox bullshit they're doing. I don't want them to fold out of the game. I think that they're needed just as much as PlayStation, right? They both need each other to push each other. And I don't want to see them just exiting the gaming, at least as far as the hardware goes. I don't want to see them exiting the hardware space. I think they're needed, because then it'll just be PlayStation and Nintendo, and who wants that? Like,
Exactly.
PlayStation, they need somebody to kick them, and in their hindquarters every now and then, because they tend to get in their own way sometimes, and they where they're feeling themselves a little too much, and they feel like they're unstoppable, and any move they make is fine. And that's why competition is good, and why it's healthy, and it keeps the gaming industry healthy. And that's why exclusives existed in the first place, was to incentivize people to come to their platform, right? It drove them to fight for our money, right? Like, that was the way they fought for our dollars. Like, oh, we have two boxes, but hey, our box has Halo on it. Oh, but our box has God of War on it. Come over here. Like, that was the purpose of exclusives, was to put out the best product to get consumers to come to your platform. And I don't want that drive or that incentive that these companies do to go away. But yeah, I've been ranting.
No, no, you're good. Um, no, I agree with all of that. Definitely don't want them going anywhere. And, none of these strategies are one size fits all. And, I definitely do not want to see PlayStation even attempting the same route, because, while some of these people who are having this discussion don't really care if the inevitable result is PlayStation exiting the market and, losing a ton of business, and their business essentially collapsing, losing mass amounts of third party revenue, whether it be third party full game sales or microtransactions, along with those hardware sales and accessory sales, ultimately resulting in them exiting the console space or gaming space entirely. That's the big one, right? Um, these people just don't care. It's just noise for them, at the end of the day. But I don't want to see one of my favorite game developers get knocked out by making stupid decisions, compromising their business and the integrity of their brand and everything they've built for 30 plus years. I'd like to play, as I always jokingly tell Morgan, I'd love to play, till PS9, if anybody remembers that commercial, where, they crack open a little ball and it went like directly into your brain synapses, and you just like played the game from like nano machines or something crazy. So yeah, obviously I don't think it'll ever get to that, but I would like to for PlayStation to be around that long if we can, and continue to make really awesome games. But Weeb, how are you feeling about this, man? This announcement, MAUs, just unbothered? Are you concerned? Or are you just kind of laughing at the people panicking in the streets?
Well, shout out to our buddy Viper. No, we don't need no Xbox loop. We're fine. Uh, no, yeah, I mean, I think we're all on the same page, except maybe Obama. No, that is just a big nothing burger. I mean, like we always said, like we keep it real. Like if they really did do something, if they really went crazy and went that route, if we had any indication of that, that's for real, we would have you would have called that out. But like this is nothing different than what they've said before. Like this is an investor call. Let's be clear. They're not talking to gamers. They're not trying to be as unambiguous as possible, so you don't run with this. No, they're talking to investors, and what they're saying is nothing different than, like you said, what they've said before, like in 2017, like last year, they've made the exact same statement,
Mm-hmm.
and there's no different than what like the entire thing is that the sort of the platform focus. Yes, duh. I mean, they are not just selling their console. They're selling services. They're selling PlayStation Plus. They're selling software. And literally last year they said, "Hey, we are in the the second half of the PlayStation 5 life cycle," which turned into another completely different shitstorm because people were saying, "Oh, he's saying it's the end of the PlayStation 5 generation.
That
Oh,
was
does
that
this
was
mean PS6
crazy.
coming?"
Yeah, that was insane when people
That was
got
so
that from
funny.
that.
Yeah, exactly, and now he's basically saying the exact same thing, and again they're running with this in every possible direction, but the right one. Like this is exactly an extension of what he said then. Like he said then, okay, yeah, this means that we're going to see a decrease in sales or sales growth in consoles. So we need to focus on on our user engagement, on the people that we already have on the platform, on the services, and that's exactly what they're doing, and that this is no different. Like, yeah, no, it hasn't changed the fact that they're in the latter half of their life cycle, and they're probably doing better. Like we've have seen in sales numbers now than they've ever done before. So they're doing probably even better than they would have expected in terms of hardware sales even. But yeah, this is kind of the problem is that they're assuming that this is sort of in a vacuum. On one hand, like we're like without the context, oh, we are in the latter half of the life cycle of the PS5, assuming that when the PS6 hits, it suddenly doesn't change into, oh yeah, now it's important to get hardware sales, because of course that's important, because you need to get that player base up, right? You need to get, because if you're not getting those sales, that, well, look at what happened to Xbox, or what's still happening to Xbox. This is what happens when you don't sell your consoles. You do need to have your device where you can have your ecosystem on, for people to actually engage with you, right? To get the numbers high enough up so you can actually say, oh yeah, we're gonna we want to be able to sell those services. It's no different. Like I talked about it, like offline, like in chat. Like I've seen, we see now even hardware manufacturers, like car manufacturers, selling you subscription services on the options, of your car, which are usually even built in, and then just but if you want to unlock them, you have to pay a subscription service. Like
Yep.
this is a shift we see in hardware manufacturing business, with any device, with cars, with coffee makers, washing machines, like anything, right? And this is another thing in the context, like he's also talking the bigger context of Sony, which is largely a hardware manufacturer. Like, yeah, we have to move away from, just selling TVs, and focusing on on services, focusing on creating content, on on their multimedia divisions. Yeah, I mean, yeah, makes sense. If that market is not growing fast enough or stagnating, you need to get ahead of the curve. And no, this is sort of, especially considering how important that part of the business is. Like, that has shifted in the years, and of course that means they see that trend, and they're gonna invest more in that part of the business. So, and nothing about this is shocking or strange, or gives you any license to run with this. Pull your pants off and scream the end is nigh, because no, it's not. And it would be crazy to assume that that's what they intended, based on this statement alone. Like, if they in the end do this thing, yeah, I'm sorry, you don't get to tell me I told you so, because again, you were drawing the wrong conclusions, based on the same information that I had, that's such the proverbial throwing shit to the wall and see what sticks, right? Uh, in the end, like, there's nothing that we've seen from this information, and exactly what they've said before. Like, it's nothing new really. The only thing that I guess also consistent is that everybody and their mom is running with this. Obviously the other team, but of course also a lot of content creators on who are claim to be PlayStation gamers, or especially game journalists, because they do love to run with this, get clicks and get engagement. See, they also switch to the engagement business. Um, yeah, I mean, that's always going to be the case. They're always gonna come up with these stories, and it's the age-old game in terms of gaming. As soon as Xbox was going in the wrong directions, there was always going to be the comparison with, oh yeah, but Sony's going to do it too. And every time they sniff a drop of blood, like, oh yes, this is it, this is the moment, where PlayStation is going to go down. Haha, we told you so. Like, I don't even know what you're I wouldn't know why they're doing it, but again, like, I don't consider it gamer if that sort of is a win to you, because it's not, if, like you said, like, if this means we're not going to get those great titles that we got before, like, you can't say that, that the fact that Xbox now is on everything, that their games are everything, is good for Xbox, right? It's good for their titles, because I mean, their franchises have seen better days. I don't want that for PlayStation. I don't want them to get to the point where, oh yeah, because that's what they've always said. Like, yeah, we're making these blockbuster titles, we're spending all that money. We are striving for that quality because they're exclusive, because we want them to be sort of the flagships over console, over platform. If that doesn't matter anymore, then yeah, why would you spend so much money on it, right? Then you can just drop down to everybody else's level, because you need to make all the money now, right? So you need to it needs to cost as little as possible, and make as much money as possible. And yeah, I mean, that would be absolutely terrible. But again, like, there's nothing about the statement that has me worried. Like, again, yeah, it has me laughing out loud that I see everybody again very predictably running with this, and like a chicken without their head, and not even bother reading actually what he said, or bother looking up the larger context, because anything can mean anything if you remove all the context and just interpret it with however the way you want it, right? Yeah, I mean, again, like I don't, I've heard nothing to be clear until now that gives me any reason to worry. Yeah. So yeah, those are my 2 cents.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you. I think people are panicking and being extraordinarily dramatic at this point, for whatever reason. Um, yeah, I think a lot of these guys just need they need the next tentpole title pacifier to calm the hell down, because they're freaking out, man. Um, Omar,
Yeah. I mean,
go
you
ahead.
know. No, I was gonna
No,
say
you were
one
just
thing. I was like,
yeah.
I just find it funny that the same guys, and these are both PlayStation and Xbox gamers I'm talking about,
Mm-hmm.
that have discredited Helldivers 2 because they said, and as far as their PlayStation's live service strategy, their whole thing has been, well, they've only had one kind of successful game, but that doesn't really count because it wasn't really made by PlayStation Studio, so it doesn't really count. But then as soon as this game goes to Xbox, it's, oh my god, look what play this is, a PlayStation game going to Xbox, and I'm just like, huh, because y'all didn't really count it like, last week, but it's counted as a PlayStation game now
This week.
because it's moving to Xbox. But
Yeah.
the inconsistency is kind of, always funny to me. But yeah,
Ain't it though?
it
uh,
is.
Omar, how you feeling, man? You panicking in the street? You freaking out, or you just chilling? What's happening? How you feeling about this?
Dude, I already packed my PlayStation 5 and I'm selling it. Like,
Oh, the
are you kidding me?
humanity! It's all
I'm
over.
I'm migrating to play to PC. What? I have a 4070. I'm golden for 10 years. Okay, now being for real. And this surprisingly going to the PlayStation, dude. Like, why are you so freaking out? Like, look, I'm the first one to talk about PlayStation online, not online, live service venture have been a disaster and a half. Uh, but most of you guys love Concord, so why are you so afraid? Like, in your eyes, PlayStation have yet to do anything wrong. So to me it feels like um for the PC dude and the Xbox dude, I'm gonna bring the word that I always love to use, validation. It's always validation. Like, PC dude, don't you have enough games to play to worry about what PlayStation is doing? And Xbox dude, hey, console war is over, long over. So why are you so waiting for PlayStation demise? I don't know, dude. To me, it feels like trying to
Manufactured
make a
drama.
trying to make what we call it uh
You're looking for
an
the
ant
mountain out
out
of a
of
molehill.
yeah,
Yeah,
precisely.
yeah,
Thank
I
you.
know.
It, it's it's so frustrating because this is what, the second or the second nothing burger.
Yeah,
First, it was with
they just keep
uh,
latching on to whatever.
first it was that that what that job listing, which apparently got filled internally. So I don't know what that's about, but yeah. So that's number one, and then now we have this, and I'm pretty sure every time PlayStation sneeze, the people head get blown because of controversy, like, and speculation, like, wait, and then there is this rumor that what you call it? PlayStation games are not gonna be 6 months exclusive on PlayStation and then gonna hit the PC. Like, wait until Herman Holt or whomever comes out and says, yeah, under much deliberation, we have decided to uh, shorten the time release for PC to from 2 years, 3 years to 6 months. Is it that difficult to just wait? I
I
don't know,
mean,
dude. It's like
it's not, but you know,
they're
people want to keep assuming, so I don't know.
they're begging for bad news just to feel vindicated to say, I told you so, PlayStation is heading the wrong direction. Like, at the end of the day, let's say they do that. What you gonna do? Your only option is either stick by it, either stop buying PlayStation games, which we know you're not gonna do that, or simply migrate to PC. If you're willing to wait 6 months for your games, uh, to me it will. And let's say PlayStation puts their games on Xbox. Okay, and it's it's not like Morgan said it. The first game is gonna be selling well. The rest is gonna sit and sell a fraction to what the first one sold. So to me, it's like they just want to see PlayStation crumble. That's it. That's their biggest wet dream. They don't care about like no. They love PlayStation games. I don't know if you guys saw the whole slate tweet with a picture of Game Pass, and then you see all the PlayStation games on it. Like you love their game, you just hate PlayStation for whatever reason. I
Yeah,
don't
it's
know,
the fact
dude.
that they think it would come to Game Pass is the real funny part.
The
And they
funny
don't even
part
like putting their
is
games on their own service.
that how they love PlayStation games but can't admit it. Like I don't know, dude. And then they say, "Oh, PlayStation has not released a single first-party game." I'm like, I literally just finished Death Stranding 2. I don't care if it's first-party, third-party, or created via Aliens AI. I enjoyed the game. I have a PlayStation, and I was able to play it on PlayStation. It's exclusive, whether it's time, whether it's full exclusivity, I don't care. I care about what I just literally played. People, like, I don't know if you guys seen it, but me and Nate, we have been talking about it. The loudest people that have been talking about PlayStation negatively disregard what their platform of preference is. They don't game. They they barely show gameplay. They barely talk about games they're playing. All they're talking about is PlayStation negative or Xbox negative. Like, why are you in this industry for? Is it just to talk trash? If that's the case, I feel sorry for you. I even before this podcast, before any podcast, before I even knew what internet was, I've been gaming. That's how I've been enjoying my time. But hey, if you're enjoying time talking, you do you. Me, I'm gonna go back to gaming. Crosscode is amazing.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, so nothing from these people, man. It's just all craziness, people freaking out over nothing at this point. But yeah,
Doom and gloom.
yeah, people just like you said, looking for a way to confirm their bias by assuming or assuming things based on what was stated, which have nothing to do with any of the stuff that they're freaking out about. So yeah, that stuff is always funny. Yeah. We're gonna move on to our next topic. Um, we'll do the more creative one here. So everybody has kind of seen this. I've seen it from a number of tweets from creators or content creators and also gamers alike. But a lot of people, state that gaming was better back in the day, as it pertains to game development, and the time that it takes in between games, and to get a lot of these games, and therefore they feel that it was better, back then, whether you're talking PS1, PS2, NES, whatever, right? One of the more recent tweets that I've seen regarding modern versus retro, game development was one pertaining to the speed at which they would release Final Fantasy. But the irony is, like, Final Fantasy was always supposed to be that thing that, like, pushed, the very best of whatever could be done at the time for JRPG. And this person went back to, Final Fantasy 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and stuff, when you can clearly look at those games and tell that is a vastly different time frame for what, we're able to achieve in gaming nowadays, and the level of expertise that it takes to create these titles. But another thing that I feel like is not taken into effect with this discussion, as it pertains to modern versus retro, is gaming is just much bigger than it was back then. Extraordinarily so, right? To the point where we've passed every other entertainment industry in revenue by far, right? You sit there and you think about listen to your mom or dad or parents or whoever, or your cousins, uncles telling you why do you play those games and this, that, and the third, and now everybody plays games, right, in some form or fashion, almost, right? Everybody's mom knows who Mario is, all this other stuff over time, and gaming has become pervasive through a lot of things, and just kind of stood the test of time against all the naysayers and whatnot. But the reality is, like I said, it's become so much bigger because so many more people do it. It's become, like I said, probably the number one entertainment source for a ton of people. But with that has become thousands of more game releases per year than we've ever had, right? Thriving indie industry, AAA, AA, new studios, old studios, all over the place, right? As opposed to really, there was really only one avenue back in the day, because you needed all this tech. Basically needed to work, for one of these bigger, one of these bigger publishers to even get your game out the door, and now we've got games that have been created that have been great, that have been made by a single person. So do you guys feel that in the current landscape that gaming was better back then, or gaming is better, in a better place now than it's ever been, as far as it comes to game development? Do you feel like all games are taking too long, when it comes to game development, and you think one particular thing is the enemy? The one thing I've seen a lot is people think hyper realism is the enemy, or hyper realistic games are the only thing that take long to develop, which again, debunked, because we've got people out here still waiting for Silk Song. Nothing is hyper realistic about that game, and so many other titles, right? Whether they've been rebooted or whatnot. I know Weeb, our resident Metroid fan, has been waiting for the new Metroid forever, and everybody knows that Nintendo is pretty much on point when it comes to their development and their games. So how do you guys feel, like I said, ultimately about the gaming landscape? Do you feel like it was better then or better now, and like how so? Weeb, I'll start with you.
You always start me with the difficult questions. Um, yeah, I mean, as you said, it is a bit comparing apples and oranges. I mean, the
Mm-hmm.
scope games I have these days, like, yes, that like the games back in the day, the 8-bit, 16-bit games, like, yeah, they didn't take that long to develop, but yeah, gaming was back then like in its infancy in terms of after the crash compared to now. Like it wasn't a very mature industry, and now it's a massive industry where yeah, I mean it's with everything, right? Like the same way with movies that if you want to make a blockbuster, yeah, you got to spend money to make money, right? You have to. That's why they spend hundred millions of dollars in the movie because they expect it to make $1 billion. And the same is with gaming, right? Like games didn't sell that massively as they did, yeah, as they do now. So of course, you're going to have a different in scope and scale, and in terms of budget, in terms of the number of developers working on it, development time, etc. So yeah, it's very unrealistic to expect that they would have the same development cycle as they as they had back then. I mean, the thing is like if you want your games to still look like that, yeah, sure, we could do it like, and the thing is like we have both, right? Because we have a thriving indie scene, and there's plenty of pixel art indie games that probably don't take that long to develop compared to these AAA blockbuster games. So if that it's kind of a strange statement to make because in reality, like I said, we have both, right? We've expanded the gaming scape with both those type of games you had back in the day and a blockbuster games that that will take 5 years minimum to develop. And the thing is, it's yeah, I get it, like like if you say the Final Fantasy, yeah, Final Fantasy used to be back in the day, that was to us, that was the cream of the crop, right? That was the AAA games, right? Even though they looked like what we now call indie games. But yeah, I mean that's just that's just part of growing up during those days, during those times, and like that's with anything. Like when the first 3D games came out, like we were blown away by the graphics. And now, if you look at it, I think, why was I excited about this, right? Um, but yeah, that's what you got. You used to now much more photorealistic graphics, and like what was then cutting edge, state of the art. That's not what we would call it these days. But you didn't know any better. Like that
Exactly.
to us, that was the best that gaming could be, and you were excited to be able to get your hands on that. Um, which again makes it very meaningless to compare those times because it's like let's say it's apples and oranges. And I don't think there are definitely things that um, are worrisome. Like something, the direction some things are going.
Mm-hmm.
But overall, I mean, like I don't think I've ever had a time in my life, at least, where I had so many games, access to so many games, such a massive backlog. We never always had a backlog, but just where I had like this sort of this overwhelming feel like, oh, there are so many games like coming left and right, and they're all games I want to play, and I know I will not be able to find the time to play them all. Um, and that's it's sad, but there's also like it's an incredible luxury position we're in right now, and it's very hard to compare as even if there were plenty of games back in the day as well to choose from. Like we were in a very different position. I mean, I was a kid when I had an NES, and yeah, I had to save a lot of my allowance to be able to buy a new game. So I so I used sort of cherished the games I had, and I played them to death. I don't know how many times I finished those games, because that's what you got to play until you saved up enough money to buy the next one. Um, and that's a very different position that I'm, as an adult now. I'm in, that I'm able to, buy whatever I want. It's just a matter of, finding the time to play them all. Um, I, yeah, I don't see necessarily as things are better or worse. The things like my favorite game of all time is Terra Enigma. That's SNES game. So that's part of a bygone era, and it will probably never be surpassed by anything, because that's sort of what it is. Like, if you have a favorite game of all time, it doesn't matter, what else comes out, because it's very likely not going to top it. But that does not mean that there's plenty of games of the modern era that are in my favorite games of all time. I mean, and the fact that I can say that says enough. That says that it's not just about, oh, everything was better back in the day. I mean, yeah, if saying that makes you sound like a grandpa. Like, in my time, it's crazy that you're complaining about that. I mean, we had great games back in the day. We still have great games now. Um, and the only thing we should be worried about is sort of negative trends, like we've always had in some modern day, with these online requirements, the nickel and diming of games. Maybe now, with the rise of AI, where uh, there can be definitely it can definitely, like, some companies are using it the right way, where they say, yeah, this is just a tool for us to save time.
Mm-hmm.
There's going to be plenty of companies who are going to use it the wrong way. I think, oh yeah, I don't need to have any developers, and just have an AI shit out of a game, and lo and behold, it will sell, and then it will fail, because it's going to be artistic crap. Because they did not get the message. Like, we don't just buy games, for pure consumption. We want something that, makes us feel something in whatever way possible, through gameplay, story, music, whatever. But it's going to be something that, it is meaningful to us to spend our time on. To be able to unwind, to give us some fulfillment, because that's what any type of entertainment does. And gaming is a very special place, that it's an interactive medium. You can experience something that you cannot get from watching a movie, or listen to music, because you can actually be a part of it. You can actually, your brain will, it's not real, but your brain will give you a different experience if you're the one, who's steering the actions of the character, instead of just watching it passively. um, and that's the beauty of gaming, and I don't think it will ever change, at least I hope not. To And as long as that's the case, I'm not worried, and I'm not um, making any hyperbolic statements like, "Oh yeah, gaming was so much better back in the day." There were absolutely amazing games back in the day, and certainly you can always argue it with case by case basis. Like, like what you said with Final Fantasy, maybe it was better back in the day, but that's has nothing to do with the overall way games are developed, and much more with
Exactly.
the direction that the studio or the publisher has taken. Uh, that they're don't really have a clue what they want to do with it. That's a very unfortunate, but very different problem. So yeah, I would not agree with the sentiment that things were always better back in the day. I think they're absolutely, they're negatives in any era. But I'd say, across the board, like gaming has always managed to deliver me with great experience. Like every generation has games that I will gladly put in my, I don't know, top 10, top 25, whatever, because they're great games and they gave me incredible experiences that I will always cherish. So yeah, I wholeheartedly disagree with that statement.
All right, absolutely. See, that's why I went to you first. You handled that. That was a statement, sir. I appreciate that.
Yes, yes, sir.
Morgan, same thing for you. You feel it was much better back then versus today, or
And
uh,
let Omar go first.
okay, yeah. I didn't know if you were ready yet. Omar, so for you, sir, you feel like gaming was better back then, or better now? Is the weight killing you on some of these titles, and you can't stand it, even though you got access to 10,000 games now, or did you feel it was better back then?
So let's give it a buck from just pure control. It's better now. There's a reason when a game get a remake, they revamp the control. Imagine playing Resident Evil 1 in uh, uh, on current gen, but with controls from back then. Like, there's a reason why they revamped it. That alone. There is fast travel now. You can save most of the. Back then, what? You just needed to put in code, and you're lucky if. Or you need to do an all nighter just to finish a game. Memory card fault, you either delete the game or you're screwed. Not to mention load times upon load times and pixelated games. But when you look at now, you're getting retro games like Octopath Zero just got announced. We got what you call it um from Square Enix 2D. I forgot the franchise. It's as big as Final Fantasy. Oh well.
Dragon
It,
Quest.
yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
It got an 2D HD remake. Like, we are not starving for old school game. We're getting them.
Yeah.
As for the length and time. Oh yeah, and one more thing. Back in the day, if you buy a game and it's broken, you're screwed. There are literally games that have game-breaking glitches or bugs where you can't complete the game. Nowadays, they fixed it or you get your money back
To
for the most
to
part.
to to be fair, the counter argument is as well is that games used to have very not that many bugs compared to they have now, because now you have
Yeah,
the
now
op
it's way more complicated, isn't it?
not that, but the very fact that you can patch a game also means a lot of games are released with bugs, knowing there are bugs, because they say, oh yeah, I'm going to release it and meet your schedule. I'm just going to release a day one patch.
Like,
As- so I'd say that argument is a bit even, because yes, you can fix a game that's broken, but not many games. They made sure that those games weren't broken for the most part, because exactly for that reason. And now they're much more comfortable releasing games with bugs that are because they know, yeah, you have to download your day one patch. So I'm not entirely in agreement there, because it also means that for sake of game preservation, like even if you buy physical, if the game is broken on disc, if you need the day one patch to actually be able to play the game, that means the game is not, you don't own that game physically, because you need a patch. And you need an online connection to be able to actually play the game.
I get you on that point, and you make a phenomenal point. with the comment. I agree with you. Going back to it, it's so again from quality of life alone, we're living in the best era of gaming. Like load time, non-existence, graphics close to photorealistic, um, content up to wazoo. Now let's talk development time, shall we? We have development time issue. Do we? Yes, we do, but we demand too much. 4K, 8K, Block K, 60, 120 FPS, you name it. Uh, um, I'm not a tech dude, so I can't call in, but what I'm trying to explain is we have had multiple people say that, and these are legendary people in the industry, games cost too much to make now, and it takes a long time to create. Back then, you could literally make games not on the fly, of course, but in a quicker uh, time because the it didn't demand a lot compare what you demanding now. Also, right now, also with now, you need to make your games. You need to make them multi-platform. Back then, it was, I think, exclusive for the most part to one single platform, or some had a few other platforms. With that being said, um, especially going to Final Fantasy, look, there's a reason old school Final Fantasy is beloved, and we crave that. It's being supplemented via Octopath and Dragon Quest and so on. But Final Fantasy itself, it's literally not Final Fantasy anymore. So the long, what you call it, production time. Like if you had to focus on just Final Fantasy VII Rebirth and remake together, that would be what, 10, 15 years of what you call it, development time. I need to remember exactly how long it took them to create remake and then to
Yeah,
make rebirth,
I mean,
which I know
they went
integrate.
over they did go over the top on a lot of that, and which is largely
Like,
their fault.
it bloated as fuck. Let's give it a buck.
Yeah,
We covered it. We discussed it, but still, it's a phenomenal game at the end of the day. When it comes to the gameplay aspect. So to me, it's like, what do you want? Do you want old school? You can get old school. You do- Wait, like to me, at the end of the day, we are. I gotta ask you guys this question: are we starving for games?
I mean that's a resounding no. So
Like how you just mentioned so many gates, and I'm like, the floodgate is opening.
yeah,
Like,
I think the big problem with this person in particular, for context, because um I see what Thrifty put in the chat. For context, that one of the people, not everybody who's saying it, but the last person who mentioned this specifically, pretty much only plays JRPGs. So they are basically freaking out, stating they'd be in a much better place if Final Fantasy came out as fast as it used to, as opposed to how it comes out now, because they
you
pretty much
feel,
exclusively play them. Hmm?
but why you Final Fantasy? Final Fantasy is not even remotely JRPG anymore.
Well, I mean that's the whole running joke, right? Is like they're flipping out over that, but the genre as a whole has tons of creators and developers that create JRPGs that this person does play. So the irony that they're stating that it was better back then because they release faster, this person can't even keep up with all the
Like,
releases from today between the trail series,
yeah,
Dragon Quest,
we
so
literally
on and
just
so forth.
got, like, it's not a JRPG, but let's give it a buck. It's as much as it, it's literally a JRPG without JRPG. 33. Expedition 33. It's a JRPG without it being JRPG. Like, it has the blueprint of a JRPG. So just because, so you can play that, you can play Dragon Quest. Like, to me, it's like, even just speaking, what you call it, JRPG only. We have so many JRPG, like literally in a few days or today, or the DLC for Chained Echo is releasing. We just got the DLC for Sea of Stars. Like, I, even from JRPG perspective, I don't understand how this person is
Yeah,
starving.
you definitely still would not be starving even if that's all you played.
Unless he don't play this game, he only plays specific type of JRPG, then we can have a different conversation. But then, why would you use specifically Final Fantasy, while Final Fantasy literally have distant itself from JRPG? It makes no sense. I don't know. This whole competition is like, to me, and you guys know me. I've been talking about JRPG, how JRPG need to come back in sense of templates and stuff like that. And I'm talking in a big screen, not like a la Octopath, like a publisher like Square Enix really dedicating Final Fantasy 17, for example, for for them to be turn based, something like that. Um, so to me, it feels like let let's now counter them. Quality of life. This this era wins. Um, game output. This era wins. The only thing that I would say the past wins is having time, because as kids, of course, you have for the most part not unlimited, but like a lot of times. While nowadays
But
you need to
but
work, you need
that
to
doesn't pertain to game development though, because that's what we're talking about. The game
you
development
know
and how it releases.
game development. We we have games that are coming out quick, and then we have games that comes out and take their time. So I really don't know what's happening with game development, if I'm being honest. I do know that it demands a lot, and yeah, um, I I still do, despite it all, despite, like, for example, we, I don't know about you guys, but me, I have been waiting on Lost Soul Aside for the longest. So after aeons of it now coming out, it's not like that my gaming have been stopped and waiting on this game only. Like, there are other games to entertain me until this game comes out. So even with game development, I would still choose this era over over the past. But
Yeah,
that's just me.
so let me put it into perspective, right? Just if we look at Steam alone, right? Just Steam. So compared to NES had 667 officially released games throughout its entire life cycle. Because that's how far that person went back, right? Steam alone right now has over 100,000 games.
It's not even context, dude.
I mean,
It's not even
but
a
that's what I'm saying.
context.
In 2024, by itself, Steam added over 15,000 new games. 15,000 in a year. just
Like,
2024.
like, again, back then, region loved games. Now, for the most part, region free games. Like, this I don't understand. I don't know if what's even nostalgia is this person having, because it even in nostalgia it makes no sense.
Well, that's why I said
I don't know, dude.
I don't really think they considered. I don't really think they properly considered back then versus now. Regardless of whatever you play, there's more to play of everything than there's ever been. Now, you could argue the industry and some of the other hardships and things like that, but those are not specific to the industry, right? Layoffs and all that other stuff. Layoffs are happening in a bunch of industries. That's an
Mm-hmm.
economy problem. So that's not specific to game development. So plenty of game developers are thriving and doing really great. But yeah, as far as like releases and things taking too long, it's like, no, I mean, I get it. Like I said, I want the next Naughty Dog game as bad as the next person. I want Intergalactic tomorrow, but I'm also
I
not
want it
sitting here like,
now,
yeah.
but my gaming is not stopped. Like
Well, but
you
that's what I'm
don't,
saying. You don't need that one specific title alone as if that's the only game that you play.
because there are other games to play and to look forward to.
Exactly.
I
And
I
this is
so
something that I had to answer when I was explaining this on Thrifty Show, because Warwana asked me, so what does it matter to someone about other games coming out when they want the next Naughty Dog game? And he said, what do you say to that person? I said, you tell them tough shit, because the reality is there are other games that you're looking forward to that you may not be considering. Just because you want that one title doesn't mean
okay.
it negates all other titles, because Priscilla's in a big predicament like this, right? She's Naughty Dog, she is God of War girl, she's all the big blockbuster go crazy AAA games, right? That's her jam. But the reality is, in the meantime, when she said she didn't want anything, me and Morgan sat down and went through the future game show and a bunch of stuff with her, and she looked forward to a ton of games and has in fact loved a ton of games since then, despite saying being disappointed with the fact and you can be disappointed with the release cadence, right, of Naughty Dog. I'm not saying that's not the conversation. The point is, in the meantime, while you are waiting for those titles, to say you're interested in nothing else if you are a gamer would be a lie.
She, she got the platinum for Expedition 33.
Yeah, she 100%ed it.
Like if you don't open your what you
But
call it,
that's
your
another game that she wasn't even anticipating, and she loved Expedition.
precisely. So if I was a Thrifty Show, I would tell Warwana this. One, Naughty Dog already released a canonical order for Last of Us 2 timeline. It can play, the person can play that, or can be way more open-minded and try out new genre. Who knows? Maybe you find a hidden gem.
Yeah, honestly, if you're depending that desperately for one company in all of gaming, like you got to open up and you got to look elsewhere. You just got to.
Otherwise, you're screwed. Like what? Intergalactic what comes out? Then what? You're waiting.
Well, exactly. You're gonna be out here looking
You beat
silly.
it in a week, 2 week max stop. Then what? You're waiting on the next game. That's it. That your PlayStation collecting loss? Like nah.
Pretty much. Morgan, how are you feeling about this, ma'am? Modern day gaming versus the retro. You feel like it was better back then?
Um, yeah, I kind of have the same consensus as Weeb. I don't really think better or worse is the type of terminology I would use. It's just different now. I mean, we were in different places in our lives back then versus I was a kid back then. So, what I consider great, as a kid is a lot different than what I consider great now, as the adult that I am now. I was waiting on games as a child. Like I only got them at my birthday or Christmas or, maybe as a treat every now and then. But now I'm an adult and I can get my own games when I want to. So it's like it's very different kind of perspectives. Maybe if I was comparing two different generations or, as an adult, I could make, describe it that way, one better or worse. But I mean, for me, like, I don't consider these current generations worse. Like, I'm gaming more than I ever have, right? Like, I'm
Mm-hmm.
playing more games than I ever have. I'm playing more genres than I've ever played. I've like opened myself up to trying new things and going out of my comfort zone because there's just so many great games out there that why would I want to hinder myself to just one thing? And like you guys are saying, I think the one like main driving point for the person who I guess is asking this question is that,
Mm-hmm.
like you said, they're stuck on one game or one franchise that they have essentially become codependent on,
Yeah.
and they're saying, oh, it's not the same. Oh, it used to be this and this. And I mean, people have to understand that just like we as people grow, studios change and grow too. The same people who were making those games back in the 90s or the early 2000s, they're probably not, most of them aren't there anymore, right? Or the people who are there, they have, different perspectives. And, as we change and as we grow, we make, our games change with us, right? Like a good example is God of War, right? Started off as like almost like a side scroller with Corey wasn't the creator of it, but he was on the team since the beginning. And now God of War has changed with him, right? He said he had a kid, he had a son, and so he wanted Kratos to grow just like he's grown. So it's just like games change with us. So to expecting a franchise or an IP to stay the same just because that's what you like, you want to bottle it up and it was a great time for you as a kid and you have fond memories of it, so you want it to stay the same forever. That's just not a realistic take. Um, which is why I've always had this mentality of like, I'm not upset when a studio wants to make something new, right? Like I've always been a proponent of let them make. I don't want them to be stuck on the same franchise forever. I want them to grow. I want them to change because with every new game comes a new franchise that I fall in love with, right? Like I was saying, like if Naughty Dog is done with The Last of Us, that's perfectly fine with me. Like if it, and they're bringing along Intergalactic, right? If Sucker Punch, this is the last Ghost that they make and they want to make something new, that is perfectly fine, right? Gorilla wants to stop Horizon, great. I'm all for change and growth because with that comes new possibilities. But there's a lot of gamers that are just stuck, right? Because they don't want to change or because they think they like what they like, and there's nothing out there else like this. And it's just like, if you bottle yourself up and keep yourself restricted as far as your gaming takes goes, like you are there are so many games that you're missing out on, right?
Agreed.
And not only genres, but there's a lot of people who just won't play anything outside of AAA, right? They just like, oh, if it's not big blockbuster smash hit, I don't want to touch it. It's not worth my time. It's not worth this. And that's fine if that's how you feel, but you can't really come on and complain if that's how you feel. Like if that's what you want to do, like just play AAAs, I'm not gonna fault you for that. You like what you like. But that it's when people come online and complain that there's nothing else, and it's just like all these games are staring in your face, but you refuse to play them because they're not a certain budget. That's so stupid. like it's there's no reason to be doing that, especially if you feel like you don't have anything to play. That's the moment that you need to be looking around and looking at all these amazing games and looking at recommendations. Like if you don't know where to start, there's plenty of gaming shows that happen like every week, right? Whether they're indie gaming shows, PC gaming shows, like dedicated, studio shows, like just start there and watch and see what interests you, see what grabs you, right? If you need to go on a subscription service like Game Pass or PlayStation Plus or whatever, and dip your toes in anything so you don't have to feel like you have to invest a lot of money, do that. But there's just too many games out here to just be complaining that the industry or that the current times are terrible compared to back then, because like you guys were saying, we have more games than we've ever had. As much as like the news and journalists love to focus on, a game failing, or, this game got canceled, or that game didn't meet expectations, or, oh, the company's upset and they're laying off, regardless of, how prevalent that is in the gaming sphere, there are so many more games that succeed and exceed expectations and are hits, sleeper hits that nobody's talking about, or because they're not these big games that are taking over the zeitgeist of gaming. And it's just like, again, if you really don't know what to play, there's like so many different avenues of trying to figure out what you like. Because I can't, you can't expect someone to just to know, like, oh, well, then you should have, there's a lot of gamers who are assholes about it and be like, oh, you should have known there was this indie game that nobody talked about and you should have played it already. And it's just like, you can't expect that from people. You can't expect them to just know about games, but you have to be actively searching and looking and trying to find those games that fit you. Because to me, in 2025, like, this has been like one of the best years. Like, I've just been back to back to back gaming. Like, I don't even think I've had like a break as far as like feeling like there's nothing to play. There's always been something to play. And like every game I've played, because I know how I am and what I like as a gamer, I don't think there's been one game this generation, as far as, well, I won't say that because there was Redfall, but as far as games that I've bought, there hasn't been a game this generation that I've been disappointed in or played and didn't like, because I know what I like as a gamer, and I know the kind of games that scratch that itch for me. And so I can look at a game and be like, okay, yeah, that's day one for me. I know that's gonna be the game that I like to play, and I'm gonna invest in that. So it's,
Exactly.
for me, 2025 and this generation in particular, PS5 has been absolutely amazing. I understand some people feel like the cadence of games are taking too long, but I think that's a mixture of one, over bloated budgets, and upper management and developers kind of clashing on what they want. Right? They have to meet certain expectations. Budgets are out of control. They spend more and more money. The direction that they want to may not be, everybody's not on the same page, and things happen like that. And, we've seen that happen a lot this generation. But like I said, more than that, we've seen successes, but people only like to, look at the negatives and point to that and be like, see, that's an example of why this generation is trash. And, it hasn't been the same since, NES. And it's like, no, that's not true at all. That games like that still exist, and there's plenty, but most of you guys don't support it. And it's like, I don't really know. I don't really trust gamers like that, because they're so fickle. They'll say one thing like, "Oh, games are taking too long, and why is this studio taking 5 to 7 years?" But then at the same time, like, look at a studio like Insomniac, right? They're pumping out games, right? At a point, they were like putting out a Spider-Man game every 2 years, and then people got upset about that. They were like, "Oh my God, why are we getting another Spider-Man game? Jesus, like." I don't like, it's coming too fast. I don't want this. And I'm just like, well, what do y'all want? Because y'all complain when it takes too long, but then when you have Insomniac who gets, Spider-Man 2018, Miles Morales in 2020, and then Spider-Man 2 in 2023 or whatever, or yeah, that then y'all complain that it's happening too fast, and then you just space it out some more. So it's like,
They
you can't
complain when
really.
you
That's what I'm
reuse
saying. You
assets.
damned if you do, you damned if you don't. They complain just to complain. So I'm like, I can't listen to gamers' opinions, because at the end of the day, their wallets are the only really thing that matters. Because y'all say one thing, y'all say y'all hate this game or this IP, but then it tops the charts every freaking year. So it's just like, I can't listen to you all's opinion, to be honest. But again, this is just nothing but gamers who are stuck in nostalgia. This whole feeling of 2025 is trash. People who are stuck on 2 or 3 IPs, those are the only IPs they play, and they refuse to branch out and try anything new. And so they feel like, because those 2 or 3 IPs aren't coming out on a regular basis, that there's nothing to play. And that's just simply not true. Like, again, so many great games that you should play, that if you want a recommendation list, I will happily draw one out for anybody who needs one. But nah, and big 2020, I'm trying to hear anybody say that there's nothing to play, because that is absolutely false.
They say they want
But yeah,
new.
that's it.
They say they want new IPs, but when you give them new IPs, they don't touch them. They complain about what you call it.
They don't support the game.
Not only that, oh, you're botting.
But yeah, no, I
They
agree.
they complain about games reusing assets, and and say it's 2.0. Like, what do you want? Never listen to gamers that don't game. That's about it.
Yeah, so clearly it's a lot of amazing titles to play today, and it's like you said, it's just a different time, and I think people just need to learn to evolve with the times and experience different things, and I think they'll be just fine. Um, but yeah, speaking of that person specifically relying on one specific game, our next topic will Omar, your again audio. Um, just random. But yeah, we're talking to um, the director for Expedition 33. Um, I cannot pronounce this man's name to save my life. Uh, but I I don't know if y'all remember it, but Gulem or something, Brochet or something like that. Like I don't want to destroy the name, but he was in an interview recently discussing, obviously turn-based RPGs, um, and how does he feel they fare today as opposed to back then. As anyone who's followed our discussion about Expedition, pretty much everybody on the team was a big turn-based RPG fan. They've been fans of the genre for a long time. Final Fantasy, um, and Chrono Trigger and all that stuff throughout the ages. They talked about it throughout the time of the development cycle in several interviews and all the different games they're really big fans of, and even listed some of their favorites from each team member. Um, so of course, obviously with the release of Expedition 33 being such a big hit and being turn based, they asked him, what do you think about the state of it today versus back then, and have you really felt like it changed? And he said he feels like there's still a big prejudice against the genre today. He did feel like it wasn't at one point, and there was a time when they were larger and more accepted, but then obviously there was a time during like the 360 era where they really weren't. And he says, I could talk about the prejudice forever, and it says laughs. Personally speaking, I think Japanese turn-based RPGs were super popular up until the Xbox 360 era, and I 100% agree with that, because that was like the lowest time in my life I've ever played, like the lowest amount of JRPGs. Like it was everything else but that. Were super popular until the 360 era, but around the time open world games started getting more popular through gaming media, JRPGs started being considered uncool. Laughs again. While they do still sell a large number of copies, with the Persona series as a prime example, I feel like the prejudice against turn-based RPGs isn't completely gone. Um, Personally, yeah, I mean, I agree with that. I mean, we've talked about it in a different capacity before, where obviously you've got people who just flat out they don't play the genre, haven't played the genre, but go out of their way to talk about it. We've all seen the tweets. I know there's one in particular that I responded to, and I was laughing with Morgan because only to find out, this tweet, um, I don't know, did like 90,000 likes or something, saying like, turn-based games could never, and it was like somebody playing Spider-Man, or Spider-Man 2 or whatever. But then come to find out, like the person had never played a turn-based game, so all the prejudices and all the dumb shit that they came up with, like saying like, oh, you just like, why would I want to play a turn-based game when you just stand there and you get hit, and like stupid stuff. Like the person had no idea what they were talking about, and ultimately you find out in the comments that they eventually are like, I haven't played one, so maybe I should play one basically before I talk shit. And it was like, okay, obviously, like again, like only in gaming, it seems like half the time people are talking about things they don't know anything about. And like I said, specifically when it comes to turn-based RPGs, there seems to be this really major prejudice against them, or that this need to, try to keep them on the lower rung, where you're not getting the AAA treatment. They don't deserve bigger budgets and all
Hmm.
this other stuff. and people really just kind of going after them and targeting them for that. Because I mean, the reality is some of them just it's not their preference. So it's not my preference. Therefore, I don't want them to ever get big. I don't want companies to invest in them. And they freak out or get scared every time one comes along and boosts the popularity and gets people into the genre more and more. We talked about it. I mean, with several people that we know, including Hero, friend of the show, but I mean, he's cool about it. He admitted like he never really got into them, and then with Expedition, he really got curious and was like, man, I'm really digging how the stories are, character development, world building, and like, you're telling me there's more of this amazingness out there, and it's like a lot of people are just weirdly afraid of that, as if somehow it's going to affect action-based games from being made, which is weird because 99.9% of games made are action-based. So again, I don't know why action-based fans have this weird fear that if turn-based games get hot, that they'll just take over, because that's never going to happen. Like that's fundamentally not even how games work. Yeah, it's super weird. But I don't know. We talked about this at some point at length a little bit. But how are you feeling about this, Morgan? You feel like this big prejudice is still here, and like what's behind it? What's your feeling?
Yeah, as I'm sure many I'm pretty new to the turn-based genre, or JRPGs in general. I mean, I guess technically Pokemon counts as a turn-based. And I was playing that back on the Game Boy, so I guess that counts. But I mean, I'm talking about like real turn-based games. But yeah, I'm pretty new to the genre. I literally just started with PS5. And it's because I met a Nate. And he, actually, recommended me games and tried to get me into it because I told him I wasn't into JRPGs and I haven't really played turn-based. And so he started, recommending me some games. I think the first was like what Persona 5 Royale was the first one.
We started with
Great
that,
recommendation. And amazing game. But yeah, I do remember the discussions back in the day of gaming. When the boys would allow me to be part of those discussions back in the day, and like elementary school and middle school and stuff. Like I specifically remember people having feeling some type of way about JRPGs. I mean, earlier in like PS1, PS2 days, I had cousins who were really into Final Fantasy. Um, like my younger cousin was a really big Final Fantasy fan. And he would always try to get me into it, and I'd just be like, "No, I'm good." But he loved it, and I remember a lot of my friends that would come over, they would always be playing JRPGs and things like that. But yeah, I agree that the turn kind of started around the 360 era, and I think that's because that's when online capability started being a thing on console, and the whole shooter box situation started happening, and that's like when
Mm-hmm.
Halo started really picking up taking off, and people just wanted to have LAN parties and be online with their friends and shit like that. So I think that's kind of when the turn happened, for people to kind of just move to another genre. They kind of moved away from JRPGs and started playing more of the online centric kind of games. And now that gaming has opened up more than ever, we have so many different genres and so many different developers and things like that, and people being able to make their own studios now, and have like Expedition 33 have only like 33 people on the team, or 10, or even one, right? And people can make their own games. That there's just been a plethora of different games, and has allowed JRPGs to kind of again come back into the spotlight, right? And especially on the backs of some great JRPGs. So it's just, I do though think that prejudice is still definitely there. Like you said, people feel some type of way. Like action gamers specifically, people who like action based games feel really negative towards turn based, and I honestly don't get it, because even when I wasn't playing turn based, I wasn't like vitriol against turn-based games existing. And it's
Mm-hmm.
like something that a lot of action-based gamers who don't like turn-based games or haven't played turn-based games, they have this feeling of like just hatred towards turn-based games. Like you said, like like 99% of the games are action based. So like, is this fear that if a turn based game is good, then that'll cause like a shift in the industry, and so every game will be turn based now, right?
They're afraid
And
that
that's
they're
their
afraid of the Souls-like effect.
yeah. I think that's maybe what it is, because once a game starts taking off, like Fortnite was kind of the lighter for live service games, and then you got Elden
Mhm.
Ring being kind of the lighter for Souls games and Souls like games, and I think they fear that there's going to be this one spark in turn-based that'll just cause a wave of turn-based games. But even through those waves, right? Even with the waves of live service and the waves of Souls, like there's still more that outnumber them 10-1, right?
Exactly.
Like they're not taking over where every single game is, a Souls, or every single game is a live service game, right? They're, of course, they have their good handful of games, but there's still plenty of other genres out there. I don't understand. It's almost like if it's not for me, it can't exist, because a lot of gamers, let's be real, a lot of
A
gamers
lot of
are
gamers are like
selfish,
that. Yeah.
and it's
I
like,
guess it's
if
a
the game
FOMO
is
thing,
not
right?
meant for me, I don't want it to exist.
I think
It's
it's
like,
more like
oh
a FOMO thing. Like they want to play it, but because it's turn based, they don't want to play it. If that makes sense.
I mean, I'm not gonna say you're wrong. I think that's partially.
yeah.
I did see some of that with, especially with Baldur's Gate 3 being so big, and a lot of people. I mean, everybody. We all remember the tweet from the Potato account or whatever, where he was just like, "I feel like they should make an action mode for Baldur's Gate 3 because I don't like the turn-based combat." And people just like
Yeah.
eviscerated him, rightfully so, right?
Yeah.
Because it's like, no, dude, go play something
Like,
else then.
go play something else.
Yeah.
That's a mentality I cannot get behind. It's the same way I feel about people who try to be like, well, they should probably, if they, I think, Elden Ring looks cool, but I think they should put like an easy mode on it. And I'm like, no, that's not the point of the game. It's like, I really want to play it, but it's too hard. Can they put like difficulty levels? And it's just like, no, that's not what the developers intended. So no, they don't need to. If it's
Mm-hmm.
too hard for you, or if it's not the game for you, you need to play something else.
Yeah, just
It's
understand that
like,
it's not for you.
gamers want games to bend over backwards for them, and that's honestly why a lot of games, at least the games that we see today, that's why a lot of them fail, because they spend their time bending over backwards trying to cater to every single gamer. And it's like, if you try to make a game for all, you're like we say all the time, you're going to end up making a game for nobody, because it's just going to be this basic, cookie cutter ass, definitely made by some suits who thought they knew what gaming was, but they really don't, ass game. And it's just gonna fail. And it's just like, you need to go in with a specific vision of what you want out of the game. And that's the game you make. Obviously listen to gamer feedback when it comes to certain things, but bending over backwards to what every gamer wants is how you're gonna fail, to be honest. Um, but yeah, getting kind of off topic, but it's just, I don't really see this need to be afraid of turn-based games. If you don't like turn-based games, that's perfectly fine. No one's saying you have to. Every gamer is different. Every genre is not going to be for you. I don't like Souls. I don't really like live service. Like, there's plenty of genres I don't like, and I just don't play those games. I don't support them. I don't do anything. But I don't feel the need to, you know, strike in the streets and be like, we need to get rid of this genre. It needs to be gone forever because I don't like it. So that means it needs to go away. Like, no, gaming is for everyone, and there's a game for you. If it's not for you, move on.
Absolutely.
But yeah, the prejudice is definitely real. We've seen it with Expedition 33. Like, when it started taking off, right? We see people all up and down the timeline saying, "Oh, it's just turn based. It doesn't matter," or "Oh, it's not going to win versus this game because it's not enough people played it because nobody plays turn based." It's like, it's stupid for multiple reasons, but it's, again, it's even stupider when it comes from people who don't even bother to give the game a chance, or any turn-based game a chance.
Agree.
Like Tony said, they're speaking off of ignorance, like just not playing the game, not even bothering trying the genre. They don't really know if it's for them or not, because they've never given it a chance. All they know is, oh, I can't hit, at the same time I press square. A lot of people with ADHD, I can't concentrate. I need flashes on the screen at all times, or I'm just gonna be bored. Like, I was like, give turn-based a chance, right? Try out something like I did, like Persona 5 Royale. I think that's a really good starter for a lot of people. Like, really gripping story, really really easy to learn. It's not difficult, and the combat is very very intriguing. It'll have you on your toes. But it's just, again, I like I said, I absolutely agree with him. The turn-based hate is very prevalent, but that's why I'm hoping that games like Expedition 33 win Game of the Year, because I think the industry needs to see that, just because something isn't action based and it's not boom boom pow pow, I can strap a gun on, and shoot somebody, that it's not worthy of a Game of the Year award, right? And I hopefully this will start like a ripple effect to get not the entire industry, but the publishers that used to be known for making these type of games, get them to start coming back and investing in turn-based. Looking at you, Square, because their whole sentiment was, oh, we don't think the West really likes turn-based games anymore, so we're going to focus on making more action-based games. And we can see from the success of a game like Expedition 33 that that is in fact not the case. You just have to make a good turn-based game and people will love it. Who knew, if you made a good game, people will actually buy it? I mean, that's kind of a new concept for Square, because they swear that their games are gifts from gods, and there's no reason why people shouldn't be flocking to them. But again, it all comes down to content. Content is king, and if your game is good, it doesn't really matter what genre it is. People will go to it. So again, hoping that Expedition kind of opens up that Pandora's box that some people have with turn-based, and allows people to see that a triple A turn-based can succeed and thrive in the current industry.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I mean you hit the nail on the head. Ultimately, focus on making a good game first and foremost, and don't second guess yourself. And
Yep.
when you do that and you make a great game, people will follow. I agree.
Yep, because like I said, people when developers try to bend over backwards because they think, oh, we need to cater to this certain crowd, that's when they fail. And that's kind of what Square did with Final Fantasy 16, trying to cater to what they think the West wants, when that's not what people want from Square Enix at all. But
Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah, and then, I mean we've also seen, like, outside of obviously turn based, which is the topic, but just in general we've seen or heard stories where a game comes out, does massive success, but you hear the story that internally they almost canceled the game. And funny enough, that happened with one of the hottest games out right now, right? Still one of the hottest games out, Marvel Rivals. They almost canceled that game and didn't release it, and now
Oh,
it's
I didn't know that.
basically, yeah. There was like a whole thing behind it. Like, they were like, well, we're not really sure how it's gonna do this, that, and the third, and they almost canceled it, and now it's one of the foremost live service titles on the planet. So, like,
Yep.
crazy. They even second guess themselves. So they had a banger and they second guess themselves. But that's what I'm saying. Like, you got to stop second guessing yourself and just focus on making a great game. And their focus was on making a great game. And thankfully, the only person who really felt that way was, like, I believe was the CEO of the company at the time. And thankfully, people, cooler heads prevailed, and people were just like, yo, like, don't trip. Like, you need to let us put this out. Like, we promise it's about to do numbers, and they did.
And
But
I
yeah,
did.
yeah, that's definitely something. A level of confidence Square, I definitely feel like, needs right now, internally, when it comes to some of these ideas and some of the things uh, that they want to do. But yeah,
Mhm.
um,
They have it with their 2D HD team, but it's just like, that those teams are doing great. But it's
they're
just,
definitely
when it
doing real
comes
great.
to the mainline Final Fantasy teams, I really don't know what their drive is, or what exactly is inspiring them for their IPs. I don't know.
Yeah, like I think the big thing to take away is like if you feel directionless, people are gonna feel that.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like I think that's the thing to take away that they need to kind of put out there. People are excited for the next Cyberpunk and the next Witcher because those games are not directionless. We know what we expect from those games. We know how they could get better. We know how they could push the envelope. Nobody's out here speculating what, am I going to get The Witcher 4 and it's going to play like Bayonetta 4. No, it's not. It's going to play like The Witcher but better and improved, and you're going to, have the powers from Ciri and so on and so forth, but it's not directionless. Like, the direction. And like I said, yeah, when you hesitate like that, people could definitely feel that. Um, but yeah, again, the prejudice and stuff that's going on out here. Omar, how are you feeling in regards to this topic? You still felt like the big JRPG, issue. I know you said it feels like while Morgan was talking there, you stated it feels like FOMO from some of these people. You know.
It is a FOMO, but also it doesn't help when your GP make a comment like that.
Yeah, I agree.
And when such a big publisher and you make a comment like that, like you're hurting your own genre at this point in time. A genre that literally shaped you. So yeah, no, and to comment on Morgan Hope, both of Gate 3 already won Game of the Year, and that game is turn-based, but still, the hate for JRPG is always gonna be there. It's like this is the old school Soul game, give me easy mode. That's literally it. I want to play this game, but because it's such genre, I'm not gonna play it. Okay, YouTube exists. Enjoy your 2 hours movie then. Like there is literally YouTube where they play the game for you. You can actually watch, or you can literally look up just pure cutscene. And yeah, Morgan said it. Not every game is gonna be for you, and that's a-okay. And the only reason that you're hating on Tambay because you either never gave it a shot or it's not for you. And no, the fact is, when a game is not for somebody, they don't hate it. Like the people that have given a turn-based game a shot and it's not for them, they say it's not for me. So for that people to say, all you do is you stand and hit, I'm like, there is strategy involved. There is looking up for weapons, there is side quests, there is story, character building, uh, character progression, all that stuff, and you focusing on just one aspect, which is the gameplay. And the gameplay that evolved, you get new skills, you get new strategy, and I don't know, dude. It's funny. It's funny as fuck that people wanna keep hating on the goat. There's a reason why, literally, the people from Square Enix met with the people from Expedition 33 to bounce off ideas. Because um, right now, Square Enix is creatively bankrupt when it comes to turn-based. Either they don't have trust in it, or they don't believe it will succeed, or the dumbest one is they don't believe it's gonna sell. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting what the end sales numbers for 33 is gonna be, and if it's gonna win GOTY or not. But even if it doesn't win GOTY, 33 is phenomenal. And if your
Exactly. It
only
doesn't
reason
change your
for
personal experience with the game, whether it wins or not.
yeah, and if your only reason is because you need to wait, I I 33 is absolutely not the game to try to give me the bullshit on because in 33 you do everything but waiting. You're the most active in this turn-based game that you're dodging, you're blocking, you're what you call it, have a different form of dodging. You are actively attacking but need to press buttons like you're practically doing a quick time event just to do enough damage to an enemy or a boss. So no, don't give me that shit that I don't want to play 33 because it's turn based. It's, hey, at the end of the day, it's your loss. You're the
Yeah.
one not experiencing 33 story and gameplay, fighting Simon, fighting all these enemies. Like, that's on you. I'm here enjoying my stuff and, what you call it, having a blast and waiting until Square Enix gets their head out of their asses and delivering for us a turn-based quality game that is triple A.
No doubt. Uh, Weeb, last but not least here, sir. How are you feeling about this?
First of all, let me help you out. There is Guillaume Brush.
Oh, there you go. Thank you.
And secondly, now that you mention Witcher game with Bayonetta 4 gameplay, count me in.
We was like, well, now I mean, you can't just show it to me and then take it back.
We got a big side weed. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Now you whet my appetite. No. You can't put it in in the box again. Now lives rent free in my mind.
Right?
Um. Oh, and by the way, Omar is gonna win Game of the Year. Mark my words. I have been
Yeah,
on
but
point
don't
for
pretend
for
that.
3 years now, so I'm
True.
gonna
She's got it
I'm
right for
gonna call it.
3 years.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
but
is true.
strong contenders, eh?
It's Oracle, man.
We have God of Yote, we have Death Training 2,
Yeah,
and
no, no. You got nothing.
Yeah,
Expedition is
Yeah,
gonna
but
win.
okay,
yeah.
none of those
okay,
is getting
mister,
it.
okay. It's gonna be interesting to see. If it win, hey, you're not gonna see me be upset about it because I actually got the platinum for the game. So,
Nah, you're gonna run around butt naked.
excuse you, I'm not Odin.
Punishment.
I'm not Odin, thank you very much. For the people that don't get that reference, it's One Piece reference, don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it. You should worry about unless you're the Indonesian government. You should worry.
Oh man.
Oh yeah. Indonesia right now is in full candle because of one flag, which is phenomenal, which is
Oh yeah.
absolutely
The
phenomenal.
One Piece flag thing. Yeah.
Yeah, like that to the
Yeah,
point
there.
the president had literally come out and say it's okay to raise the flag. Like, my dude, I don't care what you say, I'm raising it.
They're yeah, they're feeling the drums of liberation right now, Omar.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah. Uh, yeah. What was the topic again? No. Um, is there hatred towards turn base? Yes, absolutely. Fuck those guys. I mean, uh, the I like Morgan said, there's definitely genres that that don't appeal to me. I equally have no love for the Souls genre. I'm not going to demand anything to be changed. Maybe could do a little less. Like that's kind of I do really resonate with that meme when somebody said like, oh, look at this very cool fantasy RPG, and then say, oh, it's Souls like, and then you're like, yeah, my excitement dropped to like absolute zero at that point in time, like, and yeah, that's the only thing that sucks, but that's more like you're not gonna if there's a turn-based RPG, they're not gonna you're not gonna not know about it until the game drops or until you're close to it. Like the first trailer will tell you enough. And that's and basically that's sort of the thing that they're going to advertise, because it's not that common, especially with Expedition, perfect example of a game that just oozes it, that just put it up front and center, like, no, this is turn based, so that everyone knew, hey, oh man, this is like an amazing looking game and it's turn based. Um, and I mean, I love turn-based. I also love action RPGs. It doesn't matter as long as it sort of is staying true to itself. I I'm not saying that the game can change. Like the interesting thing is with the Yakuza / Like a Dragon franchise, their mainline entries did the exact opposite. They turned it into a turn-based game, and it absolutely rules. But that doesn't take away that the previous entries were absolutely amazing, um, and it doesn't mean that the opposite could also not be true. Uh, but the thing is, you have to do this for the right reasons. Like the RGG team was really excited about taking it into this new direction because they really wanted to do this. And with Square, it's not. I don't feel like it's coming from the right place, even if they decide. The team decided on their own. They're too much letting themselves be led around. Focus group testing. Market research or whatever. They think the research is what they've done, like, because in the end, like, it turned out to be wrong. I mean, it's basically um you're throwing in the kid with out the kid with the bathwater. Like, you think your game needs to be have more appeal, and then you strip away the one thing that made it unique that fans absolutely love. Like, it's amazing that they did not see that. They did not understand that that's the last thing they should have done. That the whole problem with I think that wasn't with the last entry that started way ahead, is that they kept trying to move it away from the original turn-based combat system, and they kept reinventing it up to the point where it became incomprehensible, and then they decided to strip it down to the basics and then just cut off too much, and it became very generic. um, yeah, that's changing things for the wrong reasons. I'd say, like, if you're if your game series is known for turn-based, and if there's no good reason to change that, then don't change it. I mean, it's that simple. It, you would be crazy to change Dragon Quest, to an action RPG. Not that there aren't spin-offs. You can absolutely do that with any franchise, and just say, okay, yeah, we're now making an action version of that series. That's a side story. That's not necessarily the following the main story. uh, you know, go right ahead. Like, there's nobody saying you can't do that, but just don't pretend that you're suddenly completely changing up the core gameplay of your game, just to cater to whatever you think the audience wants, right? But yeah, that goes hand in hand, with the sentiment. Like that's kind of the I guess the problem. I guess it was always the problem. Like there's always sort of the game industry lived in sort of an echo chamber where oh yeah, we're going to do these focus group testing, which is not representative of any any fan base or any audience that you're going after. And now it seems to be more like, oh yeah, we're going to look at whatever is trending on Twitter, and that's going to be the thing that we're going to focus on. That's what we're going to incorporate into our game. Like it's not like Morgan said, it's not bad that you take feedback and process that and use that to make your game better, but be confident in what you're creating. You're not. Obviously it has to be played by gamers. People have to buy, have to be interested. But people want to see something authentic. People want to see something that you put your heart and soul into, and they will appreciate it. And don't try to make something that has mass appeal. That's sort of artificial, right? Like we want to have the real authentic flavor. We don't want to have you creating this sort of lab created clinical thing that's sort of sterile, cold, but doesn't really have a soul, isn't really real. And that's sort of what you're gonna get if you're if you're a contemporary Square with their Final Fantasy franchise. But yeah, about the sentiment, like I said, like it fuck those guys. Like if you don't like it, cool, don't play it. You don't have to demand them change it, because that's stupid. Like if I came along and said, oh yeah, I think what Call of Duty needs is make it a tactical turn-based shooter, right? Like XCOM. Like I think that's the direction the game should go to, because I like that better than the first person shooter genre. Like it's ridiculous. Nobody should force developers or other people to somehow expect that game to meet their expectations. But yeah, people be people. I'd say if you're one of those guys, it does feel like you're maybe more interested in chasing cloud than actually playing games. I guess that seems to be the feeling I get from that every time I hear or read a statement like that. Yeah, I mean, you do you. I don't particularly care about your opinion in that regard. Turn-based is always going to be a thing. It's here to stay. In fact, I hope the success of Expedition means that we're going to see other developers being more confident in, oh yeah, we can totally make a turn-based game. I know that a lot, like the opposite sentiment is also true, that people say, yeah, people are gonna. I read those articles where they said, oh, they're gonna set too high unrealistic expectations on other turn-based games. Again, you need to make a game that you want to make. If you want to make a turn-based game, make a turn-based game. If you want to make an action game, don't suddenly change it to turn-based because you saw that Expedition was a success. Like that's not going to work. Uh, just be confident in what you want to deliver, and if you show that, and if you're authentic, you will be rewarded. And I know it's going to be difficult, and yes, there is a lot of competition, and there's no guarantee to success. But the surest way to success is be true to yourself, be to your convictions, and not cater to any market trend or focus groups or whoever screams the loudest. Try to make something that you're proud of, that people can see that you did try to stick true to your convictions. And again, I think that you have the highest chance to be rewarded if you follow that route. So yeah.
Cool.
Well said, we.
Thank you.
Agreed. Agreed.
And it's very true. It's very true. Like you and Nate said, like when developers, actually follow what they want to do, you can feel it. You can feel the passion in a game when developers deliver on that passion, when they make something that they actually wanted to make, you can feel it as a gamer when you play it. So, yes, 100% agree.
Absolutely.
Exactly, like we've been saying it for the longest, and this is not about template only. Like we see the confidence in developers, it's oozing when they are confident about the game. And most of the time, what they make amazing, phenomenal games. But when you see developers are not certain, you get games that you're like, ah, this could have been better left off.
Oh, yeah, I agree. With that, we're gonna go ahead and get ready to get up out of here. We can save that last topic for another show, since it's kind of universal. But yeah, it was a great show. Thank you for everybody that came out. It's nice to end it on a little 2.5 hour note. I think that's perfect. Um, and let everybody get back to gaming on this beautiful Saturday. Um, and really just have a ball or watch anime, because I've been doing a lot of that lately too with Reincarnated as a Vending Machine. Has been really top tier. Uh, Something I started a while back that I'm now finishing season one. That's been really good. But yeah, with that, we're gonna get ready to get up out of here. Weeb, let the people know where they can find you, sir.
You can find me roaming the Australian continent, getting that plat. But otherwise, you can find me on Twitter and Blue Sky as the Weep Sheriff at Infant Rhizome. And yeah, great show. Uh, Lots of great topics. And yeah, automation.
Otter Nation.
Otter Nation.
Yeah, we or not we, but yeah, Viper. We only have one more topic, so yeah. Viper says over already. So yeah, yeah, we're gonna call it. Um, but yeah, I'll have some more fun news once we're done with everybody's outros. Morgan, where can the people find you, ma'am?
Yeah, great show as always, great discussions. It's always very refreshing to come and actually talk games with actual gamers after, spending time kind of scrolling Twitter. I don't really post, too much these days, but when I'm scrolling, it's very discouraging. the attitude of a bunch of quote unquote gamers that we're seeing. So it's always very refreshing when I get to talk to you guys, people who actually game and like to talk about games. So yeah, it's been a good discussion, some great topics. Thank you guys for also joining us and joining in. But you can find me maybe on Twitter, but definitely going to be on PSN,
Right,
playing some more games, playing Mafia, which is amazing. So play
and
Mafia the Old Country if you
probably
haven't.
the Battlefield
But yeah,
Battlefield beta.
Otter Nation. Oh, and Battlefield. Oh yeah, we probably gonna jump in that maybe tonight. Um, but that'd be fun.
Yep,
But yeah, Otter Nation.
Otter Nation.
Automation.
And Omar, where can the people find you, sir?
So shout out to everyone who came through. Hit that like button, get the stream out. Look at gaming. Made Morgan Italian for a few weeks, and then she will be back to being from the USA again. But yeah, all jokes aside,
Absolutely.
thank you for joining us. This was a phenomenal show. Like Morgan, I love talking about gaming, but what I love more is gaming. You can find me at Carbon Culture on Twitter and Vitamin G Podcast every Monday, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. See you next week.
Absolutely. And I am your host, the real Innate, or just known as Innate. Fun fact for Outer Nation, uh, our resident missing in action truck driver, and mommy, Kay, uh, what she is apparently going to be in my city tonight. So,
Nice.
for the first time, you guys met Viper, recently, and Kay is actually
You
Yeah.
can meet her?
Yeah, Kay is gonna be in my city at
man,
about 3
worlds
in the
colliding.
morning. Yeah.
Nice.
So, whenever she gets here, it's gonna be like I said, it'll be in the morning. Like it'll be 3 in the morning, so it's gonna be late. But we're gonna take the drive. It's about 25 minutes away, where she's gonna be for work, and we're just gonna go up there and visit. I don't know how long. She doesn't know how long she'll get to stay, but I told her if it's just a hug, I'll drive. I'll drive. I'll make the drive
Aw.
just to give you a hug, and let you get back
I'm
to
definitely
work.
not jealous or anything. It's fine.
No,
You know,
the funny
you
thing, she
well,
said maybe
you
if I
West Coast
go
baby.
to because now she's over the road, so she said she might be in NC.
Right.
So she asked me where you were, so she was like,
Shit.
yeah, she was like, hey, like she was like maybe I could visit Morgan, and I was like, yeah, I was like, you got to give Morgan like 48 hours though, so she might have to get her hair done, so.
Yeah, chill. I feel like that, yeah.
Don't forget, post some pictures in chat.
Yeah. I'll take a picture with her and stuff when we
Hey,
meet
look,
up.
we're proving we're not AI. It's working.
Absolutely.
Or are we?
Right. But yeah, with that, again, thank you everybody who joined us today. The chat, as always, is dope, and the participation is always warranted and enjoyed. But yeah, at the end of the day, remember, as much as we love talking about gaming, you got to actually game in order to have that conversation. Something a lot of gaming podcasts out here could learn these days. But yeah, we're going to go ahead and get ready to get up out of here. And everybody else, have a great rest of your night. Enjoy these games, and we'll see you next week. Peace. Otter Nation.
Other nation.
Mhm.
Otter donation.